This clip is what led us to interview a Navy SEAL and a pro archer to get answers, because combat like this is a huge problem for me. And this too. The general rule in games is that more power equals more fun. But I say being OP gets boring. We asked ourselves, what happens if we take combat in a different direction? If every fight actually felt like it could be your last? And if you had to strategize and fight dirty to kill even one enemy? What started as a Q&A became the ultimate reality check. Every choice we make risks turning us into another game that plays it safe, or one that pushes things so far that no one follows. So here's where we took it, and ultimately what you said after seeing it. First off, what we've been building is more akin to a Souls-like. You swing at a group of enemies until their health bar is 0. It's fun, sure, but it's been done to death. That's when I decided to seek out the help of two professionals, Rob Sweetman, a trained Navy SEAL living in the wilderness, and Alexander Tulo, a professional archer, who both told me to start with our influences and the why behind them. Most of our initial combat came subconsciously from games like Horizon, Ghost of Tsushima, and even a little Sekiro in there. Those systems are proven and scalable, but the question is, how much fun are they if we copy them? And how many other titles have already done the same thing? Games everywhere are pushing combat innovation hard. So, how much should we? Pitting the player against a room full of enemies is fine for most games. Dragonborn, Guardians, these heroes are meant to take on the world. But in our game, the hero is a 16-year-old Red Riding Hood. She's cut from the belly of a wolf by a huntsman who then raised her in a dangerous world. A gritty, immersive world that we're building from the ground up, that's composed of every fairy tale character and beast from folklore. So, if we stay on the combat path we're on, we risk venturing into Shadow of the Tomb Raider territory. Another unbelievable hero just mowing down endless generic bad guys because that's what video games do. So, in an industry saturated with titles, that's not enough for me. We need to create something fresh that feels creative when you play it. How far do we have to go to not become another hack and slash? This is where Alexander came in to set us straight.
This is the problem that every game makes. They treat the bow interchangeably from a sniper. You draw the bow, wait for the enemy to pass in front of the crosshair, and then fire. But that's not how it works. In archery, you have to prepare and think through your shot before ever drawing the arrow. You can't sit and wait and plan looking through the scope like you would with a sniper. Your arms would give out. So if we can force shots to be brief through the risk of fatigue, it'll force the player to make this shift subconsciously.
So we've started to rework, again, the archery system. We're creating stages of fatigue and power now, and turning it into a system that rewards players for waiting for that perfect shot. We also know pursuing pure realism isn't the answer, but it's definitely not going to be an arcade game either. There's a fine line that we're trying to hit here, and we can't wait to share this with you. So sure, this helps us solve mechanics, but if we can't translate genuine fear for survival, our game's going to be dead when it releases. We started by looking at Plague Tale Requiem for what it's like to be permanently outmatched, and Last of Us 2 with its constant tension and visceral, brutal encounters. That's when I knew we needed to interview someone that's actually been trained to kill, and I was not ready for the value that he taught us.
For the users, I don't want the players to be able to just kill everyone and think that there are no consequences. And I think the reality is this is very, very high risk, and the likelihood of success, it's debatable, but it's still low, right? Because what if you miss? What if they turn? What if it's not fatal? It only takes one time for you to lose your life. The game is over in real life. And so how do we build in some reality, a reality check with the 16-year-old who's fighting, and give her a sense of protecting herself above just trying to eliminate all the opponents? And the stuff that we're talking about is real talk. And we have to think about, like, how is this going to actually affect the real player playing this game?
Hearing this from someone who has lived that fear of survival made everything real for us. We actually have an opportunity here to create unique combat, and we're going to put everything into bringing that vision to life. You're the underdog in our game. constantly being towered over. But you're not weak. You're the person who's not looking for a fight, but you're going to win if it comes down to you or them. That's the kind of immersion that I crave in games. No enemy health bars, just one smart headshot, one brutal takedown, one well-timed strike after planning it out. It's crazy satisfying when it's done right. But this still doesn't answer how we can translate all of this into gameplay combat. In the real world, a knight would be able to take you down in one hit every time in a fair fight. So we need combat to allow players to create unfair advantages. That freedom excites me. But if we lean too far into immersion, it could get boring fast, because that's where Plague Tale fell short. Sometimes you just want to kick the shit out of a ton of guys. The interviews we did didn't give us closure, they actually just raised the bar. Because once you talk to people who actually understand survival and combat, you realize how fake most gameplay is. Every system that we've built suddenly felt safe and predictable. We stopped thinking about progression as stats and better items or skill trees. We started treating it like instinct. You don't get better because your bow does. You get better because you've been here before, and this time you move without thinking. Maybe the answer all along has been skill expression. Players who really master our systems earn that badass power fantasy, and the rest just lean more on their wits and the environment to create those unfair advantages. We ran this by our fans in a series of shorts, and the feedback was overwhelmingly in support of what we're building. Clearly this can work really well, but there's more questions that we need answered from you first, like, where do we draw the line between narrative and gameplay in RPG combat? And how much do realism and immersion really matter before it kills fun? Be specific, because the details matter. Multi-hit combos and finishers, while we built them, just don't feel right for this game. Not for this hero, not with the dangerous enemies and world we're building. But also, unforgiving stealth, like get seen once and then you're dead, isn't right either. That's boring to me. So we're revamping everything now for stealth and intense close-quarter combat, smart dodges and brutal finishers, and encounters that feel like death is a real possibility. But the point is, we're chasing combat that feels dangerous and unpredictable and is deeply satisfying. But I'm also wary of stripping away too much freedom for a player. These are serious decisions, and they shape the identity of our game. And we're at a crossroads now. As usual, we'll playtest, listen, and trust fans on what's fun and not design this by committee. While we don't have all the answers yet, we want to know what you think. There will absolutely be a part 2 of this discussion with the community's take, because this decision's way too big to make in the dark. We're gearing up for our next big playtest now. If you want to play Tale's Edge before anyone else, join our early list now at the link in the description. Spots are limited, and we also provide additional benefits for members that join our Discord or support us on Patreon. And if all this excites you, a lot more is coming. So check it out, and cheers. I'll see you guys in the next one.